What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner. And I thought I'd take a little time to make some sense out of this nonsense by exposing one of the biggest tactics that the left uses, the biggest tactics that, say, is pushed through liberal media, through Democrats to get their will across. See, if you want to control people's minds, their thoughts, you use manipulation. You use something called information operations. You use gaslighting. You use all types of tricks that they do to keep people thinking a certain way or to get them on board with something that really, if you break it down, makes no sense. For example, illegal immigration. Remember what I said in the video before. If people take out the whole, this is racism and you hate people of color, you want to make America all white again, none of illegal immigration makes sense at all. So now, to convince people that illegal immigration makes sense, you have to muddy the waters. You have to manipulate them. You have to take advantage of humans' worst weakness, which is their feelings, their emotions. It causes you to make irrational decisions, impulsive decisions. It causes you to distort rational, logical thinking when you make a judgment call. It's all emotions, and the Democrats know that. Because see, if you remove all of the racism, sexism, misogyny, all of that, now you have to present a reasonable argument. So now you have to tell Americans, you know why legal immigration makes sense? Well, it makes sense to bring people from other countries, even though we haven't taken care of the people in our own country yet. But let them come over here, and we don't know where they're coming from. They have no background, no information, nothing. They could be bringing diseases, sicknesses that we all have to pay for. They could be violent. They've shown reasons for us to believe that they are possibly violent, and they're also lawless and breaking the law. But nonetheless, we're going to bring them over here because we can't really give you a good reason and an idea of why it makes sense, because they're going to get funneled right into most of your neighborhoods, not mine. They're going to use up our tax dollars, and we're going to one day use them for votes. So there's no logical reason why I can give you right now why that would make sense. But I just need you to hear one word: racism. That's what I need you to hear. Focus on that. Don't look at all those other things, okay? So they use manipulation, and somebody on Facebook, good friend of mine, he sent me a video today. And at first I was going to respond to the video just to him. But as I watched it, I said, you know what? Everybody needs to see this video. Every American who buys into the propaganda and lies of the left needs to watch this. And then watch me show you the difference between how a liberal would look at this video and a conservative, okay? How feelings would play a factor in watching this video, and how logic would play a factor in watching this video. And this is why reasonable, logical, right-wing or conservative people crack up and they say liberal logic. It just doesn't make sense. So let's watch the video through the eyes of, say, a snowflake or a liberal, okay? Let's see.
Donald Trump.
Let's see what this guy has to say. They picked a black guy too, y'all. Yeah, so you know, of course, you can't come in and criticize this guy, because first things first, whenever you're dealing with manipulation, you want to limit your opposition's ability to respond by blocking them with the black guy, because if they say, well, this doesn't matter, oh, you're just saying that because he's black, right? See, that's the first step, but let's see what he has to say.
Says he's committed to protecting America from terrorism. Everybody's cool with that. But what kind of terrorism are we talking about, Mr. President? I'm pretty sure he's talking about the folks who look like this.
Okay.
And this.
Let's stop for a second. He said Donald Trump says he's committed to stopping terrorism. Well, that's cool, Mr. President. So the first thing he wants to do for all the Americans, because most Americans, whether you are left or right, you don't want terrorism. No. So he starts off by saying, we're not here. We're not here to discourage people from being safe against terrorism. And we agree with that. But what kind of terrorism are you talking about? So you get everybody's attention. What, terrorism? Okay, so let's see what he's talking about. What kind of terrorism is Donald Trump talking about? So look what he does.
And these are dangerous people responsible for taking American lives.
Oh, wait,
But
look
he's
at the
also
people he
talking
shows. Okay.
about, Mr. President. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the folks who look like this. And this. And these are dangerous people responsible for taking American lives. But he's also talking about these people. Do we really need to be scared of them? Because if we look at the numbers, we shouldn't be. Almost 3/4 of extremist-related deaths in America over the last 10 years were at the hands of, you guessed it, white men. But for some reason, the president won't call them terrorists. They're mentally ill. They're unstable. Lone wolves.
Hear the music?
We should at least call them a wolf pack because there's a lot of them. Americans are nearly twice as likely to be killed by a white male terrorist than a Muslim, and it happens when you're minding your own business. Walking down the street, enjoying a concert,
So let's stop for a second. First things first, I'm concerned. You're telling me that Donald Trump is trying to protect us from terrorism, but then all of a sudden, how could Donald Trump put these peaceful people who've never showed any signs of terrorism, they've never ran in and said, Allah Akbar, and blew up anything. They've never taken a plane hostage. They never ran over anybody with their car. They never used a knife to stab anybody. They've never gotten on TV and taken a hostage and says, if you don't say this, I'm going to cut your head off. So now why would Donald Trump do this? This is, you know what? This guy, man, he's a white nationalist, okay? Look, he's comparing ISIS and this horrible Mexican killer who killed some cops to these peaceful, gentle migrants that just simply want a better life. It's crazy. But yet, at the same time, look at all the other people in America that's being killed by white people. And it seems like he's not addressing that problem. So obviously, there's a distinction. He's looking at white people and he's making an excuse for them. But yet, he's demonizing all of these peaceful migrants that just want to come here for a better life. And not only that, you know, this wolf pack, this, you know, I guess Donald Trump always says it's not terrorism when it happens here. And these white people kill a whole bunch of people. They're mentally disturbed. That's all they are. Or they're lone wolves. Yeah, but I guess there's so many of them, they could be called a wolf pack because there's just a lot of them. Yet the guy right here never explained how many are there, you know, but nonetheless, that doesn't matter. I'm now concerned. He has my attention because he's really focused on all of this terrorism and Donald Trump overlooking all of this.
Says he's
so let's see
committed
some
to
more. Let's
protecting
see some
America
more.
from terrorism.
That's
Everybody's cool with that. But what kind of terrorism are we talking about,
Yes,
Mr.
we got it.
President?
We got
I'm pretty sure he's talking about the folks who look like this
Yeah, they're bad.
and this.
Yeah, he's bad.
And these are dangerous people.
Yes, they are.
Responsible for taking American lives. But he's also talking about these people.
Look how peaceful they are.
Do we really need to be scared of them?
No.
Because if we look at the numbers, we shouldn't be. Almost 3/4 of extremist-related deaths in America over the last 10 years were at the hands of, you guessed it, white men. But for some reason, the president won't call them terrorists.
White men.
They're mentally ill. They're unstable. Lone wolves. We should at least call them a wolf pack because there's a lot of them. Americans are nearly twice as likely to be killed by a white male terrorist than a Muslim, and it happens when you're minding your own business. Walking down the street, enjoying a concert, attending a political rally, practicing baseball, worshiping at a church, praying at a synagogue, shopping for groceries, posing in downward dog in a yoga class, even going to school. In 2018 alone, there have been at least 10 acts of terror carried out by white American men.
White
The
men?
latest being at Borderline Bar and Grill, where a white guy killed 12 people. You know what? We shouldn't be that surprised. White men have been terrorizing Americans for a long time.
Is that the
When the
Klan?
president says terrorist, he's not talking about any of these wonderful people. So, when I'm aware of an immigrant or Muslim in my presence, I'm cool as penguin feet. However, when I see a white man, shouldn't I wonder if he's mentally stable? That would suck, because living a life afraid of terror is a terrible existence, and there are a lot of white dudes in America. So, Mr. President, will you fulfill your promise of protecting America from terrorists, which, statistically speaking, are men who look just like you?
Whoa, that was so deep. Did you hear that? I guess I got it all wrong. I guess what's really happening is my understanding of what's been going on around America with all of these attacks and these shootings and stuff, I shouldn't be blaming these individuals. I shouldn't be blaming anybody that's illegal to come over here, commit crime, or any of that stuff. I shouldn't be blaming them because Donald Trump obviously has demonized these people and put them into, I guess, this category of terrorists. And these people are harmless. These people are harmless. And yet these white men over here are shooting up everybody, okay? See, and so now all of a sudden my heartstrings are pulled and I'm thinking to myself, Donald Trump, you know, this guy gets on TV and he just throws everybody in a big category and he demonizes people and he's painting everybody with a broad brush, even people who don't deserve it. And he's throwing them into the category of terrorists and he's inciting fear and panic in the people in America. And he's creating this white nationalist, this to rise up. And that's what's going on. See, I knew he was racist. I knew it. We got to do something. We're gonna go protest. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. We're gonna put on our black Antifa mask and go out and say, yeah, we got to stop all of this crap that's going on. See, those are the eyes of a liberal who's simply listening to this with their heart. Now, let me give you the way a conservative looks at this. First things first, you try to capture my attention by talking about terrorism because you know that most people on the right are concerned about national security. So you do have my attention already. But what kind of security are we talking about? What type of terrorism are we talking about, okay? So now what the left tries to do is they want to conflate the issues, okay? Because the real goal is to pull on your heartstrings to be accepting and pro illegal immigration, okay? That's the real goal. See, but to do that, they have to muddy the waters, all right? So you start off with the word terrorism and you set up the topic, just like in English class. What is the main topic we're talking about here? Terrorism. He's going to start off talking about terrorism, but he never switch contexts as he starts to identify all the people along the way. So he starts off, of course, getting your mind drawn in to these ISIS members. Of course, they're terrorists. Then he even shows a Mexican guy who killed some police and was inside of the police station or inside the court talking about I should have killed more of them. But wait a minute. That guy doesn't fit the description of a terrorist because I believe a terrorist has to have a political motivation. But that guy just liked killing cops. But yet he threw him in the same category as a terrorist. See, but you didn't catch it because, see, you're a liberal. See, you just said, well, yeah, that's a bad guy. These are bad people. So maybe they're all terrorists, right? But then he switches contexts again. He goes and he shows a group of migrants just coming across. Now, wait a minute. He went from ISIS to this bad Mexican murderer to now these migrants that have no weapons. Apparently, they haven't killed anybody. But yet he throws them in the same category as a terrorist. Last I checked, illegal immigrants aren't out there saying we're going to intimidate, attack, hurt, kill, kidnap, take hostages, all in the name of a political cause. Last I checked, they were just coming here to break the law so they can work or make up stories about needing asylum. See, but yet you want to capture the mind of all the liberals and they don't catch the transition. They don't catch the correlation you're trying to make happen here. Yeah, all of them, Donald Trump's putting them all in the same category. So now we got two categories, but this guy, he won't let you know that. You got terrorists, but then you got illegal immigration, which is a whole separate topic. So now if you want to talk about terrorism, let's do that. But now you want to just conflate the issues. Yeah, you don't want to talk about illegal immigration because that has nothing to do with terrorism. You just want to say Donald Trump's deeming all of them as terrorists. Then he makes one more transition. He goes into white men and all of these so-called shootings that's been around, and then he starts to talk about it can happen to anybody. But Donald Trump, he doesn't call them terrorists. Well, of course he doesn't call them terrorists because most of those shootings were not done out of terrorism. The guy in Vegas, he's just a mass murderer. The guy in Vegas, we don't know why he did that. We don't know why in Sandy Hook that those guys did that. I mean, that kid did that. We don't know why a lot of those people did that. But now, we do know why they shot Steve Scalise, okay? That was because he didn't like, let's see, conservatives, yeah. And then most of the people in Vegas in that one bar, the 12 people that got shot, those were mostly conservative people. Yeah, they were in there having a good time and they were shot up. We do know that. And in the synagogue that he talked about, I mean, that guy hated Jews and didn't like Donald Trump because Donald Trump supports Jews. But nonetheless, you know, he wants to try to make it seem like Donald Trump is responsible, I guess, for all of this, or he's not accurately categorizing these people. He's giving them an excuse because they're white. Yeah, and these white terrorists that are, I guess, numerous. There's a whole bunch of them, okay? These white terrorists, you know, they're all around. He said it's like a wolf pack, whole bunch of them. You're more likely to be shot by white terrorists than any of these nice people that we're showing from the illegal immigration, right? So these white people are the biggest threat. But now remember, of course, people, you know, these are all white people. So now that excludes, you know, the white audience. He's not really talking to them. He's more so talking to all the minorities because he wants us to get on board with bringing in illegal immigrants to help that party, the Democratic Party, accomplish a goal that doesn't benefit us. So he got to make it seem like you guys are all in this together. You can equate the struggle of these illegal immigrants to what? Slavery, to the civil rights movement. So you should be able to identify with this. So come on, get on board with this. Get on board with this because Donald Trump, he's talking about these white men and he said, hey, they're just mentally disturbed. You know, no problem with them. But look at all the people of color. All the people of color, of course, you know, they're terrorists, even though he never said the migrants were terrorists. He said they're illegal immigrants. But this guy, he never transitioned. He never told you that. He just threw them all in the same category, right? And he's talking about you're more likely to be shot by a white, I guess, terrorist than any of these peaceful people. That's funny. Maybe tell that to all the kids in Chicago who are getting shot in greater numbers than these random shootings that take place sometimes that happen to be by white people, when almost every weekend in Chicago, little black kids are being shot by black people. Me, growing up in a black neighborhood, I didn't worry about getting shot by a white person. Most of the time I was worried about getting shot by black people that was around me. So I was more likely to get shot by black people than some white guy who gets mad or loses his mind and says, I'm about to go into a random spot and shoot up a whole bunch of people. No, I'm not a terrorist. You know what I am? I'm a mass murderer because I'm mentally disturbed. But this guy didn't tell you that though. See, he has to break it down into three categories if he was being genuine and honest. He would let you know that terrorism is one specific topic that needs to be addressed. Nobody in their right mind is thinking that all of these immigrants are terrorists. We have we've defined them for what they are: illegal immigrants, which, of course, according to the left, they're just undocumented citizens. Basically, they already live here. All they have to do is just fill out the paperwork. Okay, yeah, you didn't know I lived here already? Let me just let you in. Let me write that down for you. My name is Jose, and there it is. Now, what else you need from me? But remember, they don't want to define things as they are. See, just like they didn't define the difference between terrorism, illegal immigrants, and then mass murderers. There is a difference, but not according to him, because he don't want you to see the difference. He wants to convolute the whole message. He wants to prey on people's ignorance and their heart, and he wants to prey on miscategorizing all of these people and then pointing the finger at Donald Trump and not being specific and saying Trump has no reason to put mass murderers in the category of a terrorist because their motive was just to simply kill a whole bunch of people. They didn't say, I'm doing this in the name of whatever, and here's my demands or power to the whatever. They just like, you know what? I woke up one day and I said, I'm about to kill about 25 people because I'm mad. My girlfriend broke up with me. Whatever, okay? Then you have illegal immigrants that come over here and they ain't coming to be terrorists, I guess, but when they get over there, they might terrorize some people, like people from MS-13. They terrorize their own people because guess where they get funneled into? Most of the time, they get funneled right into environments where people who came legitimately, Hispanics that came over here the right way, are upset. Why are you going to bring them into my neighborhood? I left Honduras. I went through the process. I left Mexico. I went through the process to escape this crap. But y'all just let all of them come straight in and post up in my neighborhood. And now I'm walking out my door looking around. Yeah, so now I'm being terrorized, and I don't see white people up in those neighborhoods. MS-13, they're not made up of white guys. And the people that they terrorize and victimize, they're not sitting back going, I'm afraid of a white lone wolf shooter. No, they're saying, I'm afraid of these guys with tattoos all over them that's been hacking people up that you knew were coming over here legally and let them come. Ran interference for them, set up sanctuary cities, and then just swept under the rug all of the cases that would highlight the danger of illegal immigration, won't even bring any of those victims on TV, on NBC, on CNN, all the black and Hispanic parents who lost their kids. We don't want to talk to them. They're not boasting our narrative. We don't want people thinking there's a danger in letting illegal immigrants in. What we want y'all to think is that Donald Trump's putting all of these illegal immigrants on the same platform and level as ISIS. And that's not right. You can't demonize them. They're not, he don't know the hearts of these people. No. And you know why he's doing all of this? Because he's racist. Yeah, white people have been doing this. Hear what he said at the end? White people have been doing this for ages. And then he showed a picture of the Democrats. That's what he did. Yeah, when he ran that little footage of the Klan, who do you think those people were in those white sheets? Were they Republicans? Were they conservatives? Do the history. I mean, it's a black guy. I would expect he knows history. So go back and see how many of these people in those sheets were Republicans talking about, yeah, y'all better not come down here to vote. You might as well just forget it because you're not even real human being. That's what you are. Now, we make sure we string you on up there. Yeah, they were not Republicans. So who is he talking about? If you look at the history of America and the treatment of black people, the atrocities that were done and perpetrated were by the Democratic Party. So I don't think that was a good example, to show them in the background. Because, yeah, if that's the case, they have been terrorizing minorities and black people for centuries, and they're still doing it, but they're just doing it in a different way. Yeah, and for example, got you on here trying to promote a cause that black people don't have anything to do with. We ain't got nothing to do with that. In fact, bringing illegal immigrants over here messes us up. Why should we get on your cause, please? Tell me why. Give me some real reasons, some legitimate reasons, some logical reasons. But don't blind me and distract me by throwing up the word racism. Don't blind me and distract me by trying to make me create a parallel that you really can't create, that doesn't exist. By showing me pictures of the Klan, terrorizing black people. So you want to make me subliminally believe that there's some connection of what's going on with these illegal immigrants and also the struggle of the black man coming out of slavery. You mean to tell me that they going through the same stuff we went through? So you telling me that these white Anglo-Saxon Americans went over to Guatemala, grabbed them, put them on a boat in chains, drug them 2,000 or 3,000 miles here to America, went out there, made them work on the plantation, raped, killed, and all of these things, didn't declare that they were human beings, whipped them, hung them, all of these things against their will? You mean to tell me that's what they're doing to them? Because that's what they did to black people. But the last I checked, these people from Honduras said, I am going to willfully make this journey so I can go into America and work willfully, not against my will, without people whipping me, raping me and doing all of these things. Nobody's doing that. I'm going to break the law to get in there. And when you try to drag me out, I'm going to get mad versus the slaves that wanted to run and get out and was drugged back in. So now, how is that a connection? But yet you're showing me flashes of throwbacks of the Democrats in white sheets doing this to black people, and then you don't want me to catch it, see? You want me to be like, yeah, see, they can understand. I know what they're struggling for. I know what they did, even though none of us black people have been through slavery. We just identify with it through the messaging that comes out of the Democrats and out of the liberal media whenever they want to push identity politics and keep us divided. So they got to keep reminding us of all of this oppression that we're going through, I guess, currently, all this discrimination we're currently facing, all of this racism that I guess is just all around us that we're not seeing every single day of our life. I mean, you would think we were walking out of our houses scared to even go to the store. Don't look at a white man in his eyes. Hey, forget about whistling at a white girl. That's crazy. You might despair, never see you again. All of this stuff, it comes out of the messaging of the media, the liberal media, and the Democrats, so that when they run propaganda like this video I just showed you, you'll buy into it. You've been hearing it over and over again that this stuff exists. It's an epidemic. We ain't never made progress in the struggle, y'all. We ain't never come far. No, in fact, we're regressing. It is more segregated and we're more persecuted now than ever. We're going right back to 1890. We're going right back there. I mean, we ain't made no progress, even though we're working, all of us. I mean, we got the lowest unemployment rate for black people at this point, even though we got all these black millionaires making money, singing, rapping, owning businesses, on CNN, telling us that we're oppressed, but yet Don Lemon and the rest of them make their millions. Yeah, that's real oppression to me, Don Lemon. I mean, I guess that you're an exception. Maybe if this was slavery, then you would probably be what, a house Negro? Perhaps, I'm not sure, because it seems like you got it better than the rest of us. I'm just saying. So for you to get up there and tell the rest of the slaves to stay on the plantation, for this guy to run a video like this, to try to manipulate all of our emotions to do the bidding and the will of the liberal media and the Democrats, to say, hey, leave these people alone. Let's bring them over here to replace our vote. Because, see, we're not voting like we should. And too many of us are waking up and seeing that the Democrats are corrupt. But they're going to invoke black people to go get people to replace their vote. And because they distort racism and Donald Trump is a white nationalist, black people don't catch it. Right over their heads. Minorities don't catch it. Right over their heads. Liberal white people that have white guilt don't catch it. Right over their head. And they all run down there and get on the cause to bring people in our country that goes directly against America's self-interest and their own self-interest. Now, I didn't want to have to do that to that brother, but he did it to himself when he allowed himself to get on that video and say some stupid propaganda mess like that and didn't think we'd catch it. But thanks to having common sense, I was able to sniff it out and expose that garbage. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Find me every Wednesday, 7:30, live, my radio blog talk show, and I go live on YouTube. Also, if you get a chance, check out Extreme Tees, my sponsor. The link to their website is in the bottom. Promotional code is my name, Kevin. And if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, feel free. There's a link right down there. You can do that. And don't forget to find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter. What else am I on? Yeah, pretty much that's it. I'm on Instagram, but yeah. So find me on those things and hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And guess what, y'all? We rolling up on 100,000 subscribers. Now, this video needs to go out to every single American, white, black, Latino, whatever. Anybody in America with a brain. I hope I just dealt the left a complete black eye by exposing this garbage, these tactics, and this manipulation that they tried to perpetrate through this garbage I just showed you. So, I didn't want to have to do it, but they brought that on themselves. And I will do it again if I have to. All right, God bless you. See you next time in Kevin's Corner.